Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Serving It Up. Jim Hayes alongside Matt Holliday, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, supposed to be here, but I think he's getting a puppy. So I understand there's nothing wrong with taking time off to go get a puppy. He told me on next week's episode he will introduce the puppy to our ever growing audience. Gentlemen,
Retirement puppy.
Yeah.
is that what that is?
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
He's been
Uh,
promising that, I'm sure, for years.
yeah.
Do you have a dog, Lance?
We have three.
What do you got?
We've got two Great Pyrenees that sit on the driveway and bark at everybody so they don't come up it. And then we've got a French bulldog named Luna, who is brand new. So
Oh,
yes,
that's a
retirement puppy is a thing. Wainwright, I think, is a problem for everybody ever since that happened. So every kid thinks they get one when their dad retires now. But as long as you don't have a bobblehead with your wife's number on the chain where she gets called like they did in St. Louis last year, that was beautiful. Did you see that, Holly?
Mm.
So they took a
What are you talking
picture.
about?
They took a picture of Wayno holding the dog, and I think they put Jenny's number on the
Oh
dog tag
gosh.
in the picture on the bobblehead or whatever, and it was her real number. I guess that's what I was told.
That's
That's great.
crazy. Do the
We need
holidays have a dog?
we have four.
What do you got?
We have two Bernie Doodles, Bernie's Mountain Dog Poodle mixes, and a Golden Doodle and a Labradoodle.
All right, now as former professional athletes, I know you both have big compounds. Do you go and clean up the poop, or is that on somebody else?
It's what that they can just go wherever they want on the farm. That's just the way the world works. It's been like that for ages. It's like you go clean up the horse shit. No, it's just in the pasture.
All
It's
right,
good
it just
fertilizer.
Yeah, you
fertilizer.
just you just till it up and you make a food plot out of it.
Ugh.
Deer
Now,
hunting.
I'm in studio here. Lance, you have a beautiful chair that swings. Where are you?
I am in Florida on the
Oh,
beach, a little Rosemary Beach, Florida. Beautiful place if no one's ever been.
all right, I would like to retire there. Hopefully, after a few years, and hopefully I don't get the short haircut. Matt, where are
There you
you?
go.
John Dutton and I just rounded up some horses, so I am in Montana, so which I've never been to, and it's a beautiful place.
Big Sky Country. That's what they
Yeah.
call it, Big Sky Country. All right.
Oh,
So
that's what
the
they
first
call it,
thing
huh?
we have a lot to get to. I know you guys have things to do, but Matt, the reason why I wanted to start with you is today is a big anniversary. I'm wondering if you were aware of it, but back in 2009, you were traded on this date to the St. Louis Cardinals from the Oakland A's. You weren't there in Oakland very long, and then you had to catch a train. What do you remember about that?
I do remember it's the 24th, which is Reed, my 12-year-old son's birthday today. So he is 12. He was obviously not alive then. But I remember being in New York City. We were playing the Yankees, and I remember was hoping that something was going to happen soon. I didn't know when it was going to be. Obviously, the 31st is the deadline, so I didn't really anticipate it would be this early. But I remember kind of waking up in New York City to people trying to get a hold of me because we were staying in some sort of like older hotel that you couldn't get service in, and so my phone wasn't working, and people were trying to get a hold of me. And I think, if I remember correctly, Billy Bean had to call my hotel phone to get a hold of me, and I don't know. So, sometimes the details are a little blurry, but I remember like seeing it on ESPN maybe before I even got a call from um, because they were trying to get a hold of my cell phone and it kept going straight to voicemail. But yeah, I was excited to get traded to the Cardinals. Immediately you go into how do we, where do we go from here? I had all the family with me, um, and so I talked to CJ, and CJ was like setting up what was the best way to get to Philadelphia that night. So we hopped on a train from New York City to Philadelphia. Family was excited. We had to gather all my stuff. I obviously didn't have time to go to Yankee Stadium to get my gear. So just hopped on a train. Family, we got to Philadelphia. One car picked me up, took me to the stadium, and the other car took Leslie and the kids to the hotel. got to the stadium. Had already thought through the idea that I didn't have any equipment, but I was playing that night, so I gathered up some stuff, and I think Todd Wellemeyer's Adidas with a pitching toe was the only shoe, only size 14. So I rocked the Todd Wellemeyer 14s with a big giant pitching toe on them, and Albert's bat, and Yachty, I think Yachty batting gloves, and anyways, yeah. So I wore equipment from everybody else, and went out there and got 4 hits, and it was quite a memorable day.
So you had no inkling that the Cardinals were the destination, or do you get a heads up that that is a likely possibility?
No, I mean, I had talked to some friends with the Cardinals organization that they were trying to make a move. They were trying to get me, and actually a couple teammates had been. Russ Springer was on the team, and had recently been with the Cardinals and was still close with some of the Cardinals. And there was some idea that they were trying to get it done, but I didn't know. Again, most of those deals don't get done till the 30th or 31st, kind of down to the deadline. So I anticipated I probably would get traded, but I didn't know it would be a week early, and didn't know where it would be. But was excited to go to the Cardinals. I remember Billy Bean called me in at the time, and he said, "Hey, I'm not just going to give you away, so you might be here the rest of the year. I'll get two." That was back when if you were a Type A free agent, you got 2 draft picks out of the deal. So he's like, "I'm not just going to give you away. I get a first and second rounder if you leave in free agency." So I was a little, I didn't know what was going to happen, but yeah, excited about that call, and jumped right into the team. 12 hours later, less than that, I was playing for the Cardinals, wearing the Cardinals uniform, and getting after it with those guys, and one of the more probably memorable and fun days of my career.
Pretty cool. And congratulations on the anniversary. But I would say, Lance, generally speaking, and this is another thing I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. Like the Cardinals right now, not a good stretch. Let's be honest about it. Trade deadline's coming up. What's it like in the clubhouse when you know that the team is going to be trading away some guys, either buying or selling? But what's it like in the clubhouse when the teammates that you've been going to battle with, some of them ain't going to be there? What's it like?
It's interesting. Most of the time that I've ever been on where a team's been in sell mode, I've been on the move. So it's not like I've never gotten left behind, I guess is the easiest way to say it. It's a weird feeling, right? Because you know you're going to get moved. In Minnesota, I knew I was going to get moved in 18, and I knew I was going to get moved at the deadline. And when I went to LA in 23, so you're sitting there kind of waiting, wondering where you're going to go. In Chicago, I had some no trade ability, so I kind of had a little bit of a say so in certain spots. So I was a little bit in the loop there. But I've never been on a team to where everyone was getting traded and I stayed. So I never had that problem. I guess that's a good thing. But when you're on a team that is trading guys away, it's a weird feeling though, because I remember in Minnesota, I think there was like 7 or 8 guys that got traded all within like 48 hours. And it was weird. It was just a weird time because you're just like you hear a bunch of stuff and there's everybody's got a Twitter and they've got an opinion or somebody heard it from a source that this was going down. Um, it's weird. And Matt, you remember the weirdest one I ever had was when Alan Craig and Joe Kelly got traded because we were eating breakfast and
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew. That was probably the
Yeah.
weirdest one I had on a team that like set to win. We're
Yeah.
eating breakfast. We traded for Lackey in 14, and we're sitting there, and Joe and we looked on the TV, and there Joe and Alan were traded, and everyone's like, "What's going on?" And we all looked
Yeah.
at each other, and it's like, "Yeah." And then next thing you know, Mike came in and goes, "Hey, I need to see you two." And we're like, "Yeah, no shit, it's already on the TV." It's
They're
like
packing their bags, like
they're
calling their
like, yeah,
family in the hall.
it was the weirdest. Yeah, and the media was in the clubhouse because we were in a day game in San Diego.
Yeah.
That was probably the weirdest one ever. Like the guys had no time to process it or anything. It was just like, bam, hey, get your bags and get out. It's like because
So
it happened quick. I guess I don't know.
I remember that the team hotel is right across the street, actually attached to the ballpark in San Diego. So Mo had completed this deal. Apparently, one of the agents, I don't remember whose agent, leaked it to ESPN. So it's on the crawl, on
Yeah.
ESPN scrawl, and Mo was on his way from his hotel room across the street. And like you said, media's in there. I remember those guys were like on the verge of tears because they enjoyed playing in St. Louis. Matt, how weird is stuff like that with the trade deadline? How weird is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one, like Lance said, that when you're a team that's winning, and in that situation, like two guys off your major league team that are big contributors, that's very rare. Where you're adding and subtracting at the same time, and obviously getting Lack. It was going to take some good players, but typically it's not going to be like major contributors on the big league team because you're trying to win. So that one was strange because it kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of times as you get close to the deadline, you kind of prepared for like, okay, we're buyers and it could cost us. You typically know who the guys. It's usually younger guys or prospects or guys that have been up and down a little bit. It's not typically key cogs on the team that are going. So you kind of expect to some degree there's a group of guys that you think could probably go. And then when you're on a losing team, which thankfully in St. Louis we were very rarely ever out of it at the trade deadline, and in Colorado a lot of young guys, so they were kind of rebuilding. So I didn't experience a ton of that either. Probably Oakland, in my 1 year there was the year where we had some veteran players that were going to get traded. Unfortunately for a lot of those guys, they were hurt and didn't really end up getting traded. But it's certainly an interesting time, and I think this deadline in particular, for teams I'm interested in, that I follow closely are when you look at the Orioles, they've got some veteran players and their record is, they've had a lot of injuries and they're not where they want to be, so they have some players on expiring contracts that'll be interesting to see where they end up. And then you got the Rockies, who are trying to build back up. They've got some older players, veteran players that some of these contending teams might want. That they're trying to add prospects and try to build their farm system up to make a run in the next 4 or 5 years. And then obviously with the Cardinals on this, getting losing 2 out of 3 and getting swept to start the second half. Now they're in an interesting situation with what they're going to do, and do they go all in on a sort of a sell, or where they try to get rid of some of their guys, or try to add. And so this is a fascinating one for me, that looking forward to seeing how this unfolds.
So Mo basically said, "Hey, Kyle Gibson's here. Hi,
Hey,
Kyle."
buddy.
Sorry, guys. Sorry for being late, but
New pup?
all right. Not yet. We are leaving soon to go get her. I had to shift an appointment around this morning so that we could go do that. So that's why I'm a little late. I apologize. But the new pup will
That's
be
okay.
here and will debut on the next show.
Love
What
that.
what kind of what kind of
figured
pup
you were-
is it?
Retirement pups happen, man.
Yeah, they do. She's going to be she is an Alaskan Malamute, already born Alaskan Malamute, just like our first dog, Kiba. So we're excited.
So let's
You were
get
probably
up to
waiting in the
speed.
lobby. You were probably waiting in the lobby for a while.
I was waiting in the lobby for a little bit,
Yeah.
but that gave
So
me
you-
a chance to really get the breakdown of which teams you're interested in.
Yeah.
Heard all of that.
Yeah, good,
He's ready to
good.
rock. He's ready to jump in.
Well,
He's ready to jump in. Let's roll.
I got to pull my headset out and plug it back in twice so that I could hear the show. So it's.
I noticed last show you pulled them out and in quite a bit. It's almost like either your ears were hurting or you weren't sure if you wanted to hear Jim through the headphones or through your phone.
That's hurtful.
No, it
That's
just goes
hurtful.
quiet. It's like no, you need to take it out. Oh no, you put it back in. Like the StreamYard, it tells me when to.
Reset your headphones,
Yeah,
please.
it keeps me on my toes during the show.
So Kyle,
That's
do you have any trade deadline stories? Because this is the anniversary. I know if you were on for this. This is the anniversary of the trade that brought Matt Holliday to the Cardinals back in 2009. He had to get on a train and catch up with the Cardinals. Do you have any? Do you have any trade deadline stories?
I got asked this morning about one on an interview, and it was interesting because in 2018, I think Lance obviously knows this as well, but we traded away 8 players from that Minnesota Twins team, and we still ended up only like 2 or 3 games out of the playoffs. So those are the instances that I think I understand that teams have to make a decision 2 months ahead because that's when the deadline is. But if you look at the Cardinals over the last 15 days, people have started to think differently of them. But if you look over what they could do in the next 15 days, they might be in a totally different place. They could be in the wild card in 15 days and solidly in the wild card. That's just how fast baseball shifts. So I don't know. I think it'd be an interesting idea to move the deadline back a little bit because then you give teams a little bit more time. But baseball's such a funny game, man. It moves a lot. But that 18 team, that was also a tough one for me because I've been teammates with Dozier for a while. Some guys that I've been teammates with a long time got moved at that deadline.
So
And
I'm going to ask.
we became best friends too. So
We also
lost
became best
new
friends.
Best friend,
But Major League Baseball was not ready for us to be together for a full season just yet, and then it gave us another chance later on. So that was just a little taste.
And we got a COVID 60 games. And then we got one last year. Finally got a full season last year.
I didn't even think about that, honestly.
Right? It was
baseball was not ready.
Build. We had to slowly build into a full season.
Oh, jeez.
I wanted to thank all you guys because Lance is doing very big things now. He's on Brzezinski's show, MLB. He's doing MLB radio. You're doing other interviews.
This
Kyle
is a platform.
And Matt, you're on
this,
every media all the time. I appreciate you guys.
This is a springboard.
We got
stepping
you
stone.
an AM radio gig again. You're back.
Yeah.
All right. I want to ask you about the current Cardinal situation. And Erick Fedde was just DFA. And Kyle and Lance, you were teammates with him last year. So he was good last year. He was good at stretches this year. What happens? Like he couldn't control his sweeper anymore. I'll start with you, Kyle. What happens to a pitcher when it's just not there? And he's not an old guy. What happens to a pitcher in that situation?
I'll get to your question in a second, but StreamYard froze when you said he got DFA'd this year and then Kyle. And I thought you were just going to come right to me after the DFA and try to see if I could give you what it feels like. But then I got the rest of your question, and I feel a lot better about it.
You know what he's going through.
I thought that's where that was going. Okay. Once again, baseball is so funny, man. Like it's 2 weeks or 3 starts or whatever it might be can do so much for what people look at numbers, right? I don't know Fedde's advanced numbers or some of the outside analytical numbers, what they show. But I mean, struggles happen. And I don't know, just like Palante, right? Palante is throwing the ball pretty well for most of the year. And then he has one bad inning yesterday. And then if somebody from the outside looking in looks at his numbers like, oh, we got to get somebody else. Well, that's just not the case. But I mean, if control and some of that is a factor, well, for people who don't throw as hard, which Fedde, I would say is in that case, like location and control is a big deal. So if he hasn't had the feel for certain pitches in certain parts of the strike zone, especially as the velocity in the game has gone up, that means that guys like myself and him have to be on our game even more. And when you're not, it's going to unfortunately, kind of stick out.
What about you, Lance? What did you see from Fedde last year? Were you surprised that it went south on him quickly?
So I'm gonna do this, and it's one of those things where he came back over from Korea. I think it was in Korea, right? Where he came back over from.
Yep.
I can't. So he had a really good first year, and teams haven't seen him. He developed a couple new pitches from when he was here before, when he had his ups and downs. And I think what you're seeing is teams had a full year of everything that he did and did well last year. And then what happens is your command might not be as good either, and they're ready for you. So he's now going through that trial of, okay, they know what I'm about. They kind of know what I'm doing. The things that I had success last year aren't working. And then I'm trying to make them even nastier or better or something like that. And then it snowballs on you. So I think the main thing is to realize that he's in that second year of really being back here where teams know him and have a book on him. And you don't have to be nastier. You maybe have to just change a little bit of usage here, maybe be a little bit more fine with certain pitches, or hey, if you lived away the whole year last year or something like that, then you got to go in and you got to let them know you're going to go in. So you got to change the narrative a little bit and change the script at times. And I think he will get back to that because he's very smart, but it also takes you a minute to realize that and make that adjustment. And he had stretches where he threw the ball well. And then when he didn't throw the ball well, he was missing with certain pitches and he had to be perfect and he wasn't. And then you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, and again, I think it was Korea, might have been Japan, but that's where he came up with the sweeper, and then he had time last year before the trade to the Cardinals to see if that pitch was good, and it was, and he was effective last year and for parts of this year. But right now, things are not going well for the Cardinals, Matt. What are you seeing from these guys? How difficult is it now to kind of rebound after that road trip, which was hard to watch?
Yeah, I mean, I think like they said with Fedde, like his margin for error is smaller than the guys that are throwing in the mid to upper 90s. You know, he's one of those guys where if his command's off just a little bit, he's throwing the ball over the middle of the plate. He's going to be in trouble. And so, you know, you look at coming off the All-Star break, starting in Arizona. That's never like an easy place to start out with. Arizona's hot right now. And then you go to Colorado and lose 2 out of 3. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think they overachieved a little bit the first half or up until the All-Star break. So I don't know. You know, I don't watch every inning of every game. So it's hard to give a really, I think, deep answer to it, other than I think they've overachieved a little bit and might be returning to the mean. Just a little bit of being more of a 500 type of team with a 500 type of roster, especially trying to learn if young guys are going to be, you know, good. You know, as far as the rotation, they pitched really well. They were really healthy most of the first half, and which allowed their bullpen to pitch the right innings and not get overly extended. And it feels like now it's you know, the starters aren't going deep into games. The bullpen's probably getting extended, and you know, they've not played as well. So in my opinion, it's probably more of what their roster was and is, and less of some sort of big change.
I want to ask you about your kid real quick, because the contract's taken care of, and he's all of a sudden your young son has a boatload of money. I just wonder, what's dad's advice with that? I mean, a boatload of money.
Well, I mean, look, he's never hurt for anything. I mean, he's not like
Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. He
well,
was fine.
I mean, he drives a nice truck. I mean, he has an Adidas contract. He has a baseball card contract that he's had for 18 months. He still has a credit card that his mom and I have given him. So I see the credit card comes through. He's buying his friends, you know, they go to Chipotle, and I see $94, not $9. So
that's just a good teammate. He's a good kid right there. That tells you what he is.
Sometimes these kids, like even Grayson, my daughter, she's like, "Oh yeah, I bought everybody cookies from Crumble." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, everyone?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure, fine, yeah." I mean, you know, because you know you had a good week at the job last week, and so you had plenty of money for everybody. So I don't think anything has really changed, Jim. So he, I just took him off the inheritance piece. You know what I mean? Like my daughter, and my 12-year-old right now, their inheritance has gone up. And I told the 2 boys they're off, so they can fend for themselves if something happens to me. But
I'm not trying to, because the kids, obviously, your kids love baseball. They put in the work. But the greatest gift you ever gave them was the genetic lottery ticket. Like, the best I could do for my kid was to buy him a used Hyundai. All right. So let's be honest about that.
Well, I mean, look, Jim, the genetic pool was not friendly to your son. He's overachieved in my mind already. The fact that he even plays, what does he play? How old is he?
He's 16, and he's a pitcher.
And he was on the high school team, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's way over what I thought. So as far as that goes, so I think he's overachieved. I mean, I think you're in a good spot as far as that goes. But yeah, so I look, we dropped him off in Scottsdale, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to close a chapter and open a new one in a family where his siblings, particularly Grayson and Reed, his younger siblings, are rely heavily on his presence, and all of a sudden the dynamic of the family changes overnight. So it's never easy, and that's why we're in Big Sky, Montana. We brought the two little ones on a little vacation, and we're just trying to have a little bit of fun as we think about the next chapter of our family without, and Ethan will be back in a couple weeks, after the season, for the off season, but it certainly is a new chapter.
Well, congratulations to you and Leslie. You did raise good kids. I know she did most of the heavy lifting on that, and it probably wasn't you. Um, but here's another thing. Your kid was the number one pick, if not for money. I mean, let's be honest. Like you guys talked about, I think in the last episode, right? Right. There's money to. It's not. They're not drafting the best player available. They're drafting an opportunity, and there's a price tag that they know going into it, and they could use money elsewhere. Correct? The number one isn't always the number one. Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, it's certainly subjective. I mean, I'm not gonna, I think that there are factors involved with how they draft and who they draft. I mean, I don't even know the man that the Nationals put in charge of drafting. We never had any interaction with him in the spring. I mean, we had a couple days with Rizzo and a couple of their other guys, and so the turnover the turnover with the Nationals. I'm not going to make any assumptions. We had I feel like Ethan has got a chance to be a great player, and there's it's just that's just how it goes. You put a value on talent, and then you just leave it up to the teams and you figure it out. But there's lots of very talented young players, and the MLB draft is a crapshoot in a lot of ways as far as predicting what a 17-year-old or 18-year-old would look like at 24 or 25. I mean, it's a very difficult thing to do, but we'll see. I mean, again, now the work starts. You get drafted, and then the real work starts on your journey to try to make it to the major leagues against the rest of the world. I mean, there's kids from all over the world that want one of those 26 spots on 30 teams, and so it just is beginning for Ethan. It's nice to have that kind of money to start your career, but the challenge is getting to the major leagues and staying in the major leagues. And so that's where we're at. And, it's like I said, it's all about moving forward and what it's going to take to get to the big leagues.
Hey, Jim, hold on. Jim, I'm stepping in here. I'm going to ask a question. All right. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm going to go ahead and ask a question. What do you guys think? Matt, you make an interesting point about, being able to predict when they're, 24. Obviously Jackson was up a lot sooner, but, what do you guys think about making at least 2 years of college mandatory for the draft, and kind of giving these guys, a couple years of school and a couple years, at least toward a degree, but then, kind of giving them a couple years to develop and see where they're at and how much closer they get to being who they're going to be?
Go ahead, Lance. You go first.
I'm going to say I don't hate it in the sense of just because the guys who haven't made it, they get drafted out of high school and they don't have any type of education or anything to follow back on. But when you look at some of the stuff, where you look at both of Matt's sons, like when you're getting drafted that high with that kind of money and stuff like that, then it's like, what if they go to college for 2 years and get hurt? So it's a double-edged sword there for me. I think that there is some. You look at, hey, if you get drafted as a 20-year-old from an 18-year-old, you get more of an idea who they're going to be a little bit. They get a little chance to mature in college and get away from home. So I think for the whole, it could be a good idea, but for a certain few, it could hurt them and cost them a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's certainly a case by case situation. I mean, I think that the majority, in my opinion, the majority of kids would benefit from going to college for a couple years. And I think that I think MLB is trending that way. I think it looks to me like they would like for college baseball to be their minor leagues a little bit more. And they talk about, eliminating a team, and now they're talking about eliminating more teams and trying to implement something like the NBA where you have to go to college at least for 1 year, possibly two. So they seemingly are trending that way, is what it looks like. I think there's certain guys that go into the minor leagues and getting 550 at bats as opposed to going to college and getting 250 at bats. They need that repetition, and they're not ready to go play at some of these big Division I schools, like a lot of 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds. If they go and jump into a roster in one of these big conferences full of 21 to 23-year-olds, it's going to be very hard for them to compete, just from a manlyhood strength situation. So they would go and probably, not play much as a freshman. And some of them do. Some of the elite freshmen do play. But I think it's an interesting point in that, if it does make the college game better if they trend towards this, but it's seemingly, I don't really like it, because I think it's costing a lot of college guys opportunities. When you start eliminating minor league teams and you go to 20 rounds, now they're going to say they're going to 15 or 10. A lot of those guys that you go, oh man, that's cool, he was a 34th round draft pick and made it, like Matt Adams or somebody like that, would never even get a chance. Like a lot of those stories don't happen anymore because they don't have roster spots in the minor leagues to give these guys at bats. And the turnover is a lot more. So they're drafting 20 players. They only have so many spots, and these guys are out. We can't sign that college kid who's 23, who's had some injuries, but he's talented. And we had a guy named Carson McCusker who got up with the Twins this year, undrafted out of college, but made it to the major leagues. And so I think that's where it's going. Unfortunately, in my mind, I think they should keep it the way it is, but we'll see.
Let me ask you, Kyle, what about the kid who can't afford to buy Chipotle for everyone? Like, what about the kids where there's a real financial need in his family? Don't you think that might hamstring someone like that?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm not even sure, which side of it that I'm on. I feel like, there's benefit to, springboarding a couple years of your education and kind of being towards something for if it doesn't work out. I think, there's a reason, you hear all these stats of, number one overall high school pitcher has never worked out, or, there's a lot of these other things that you see in the draft. Yeah, I mean, I think the later you get into the game, the later you get into free agency, and the later you get into your career, and not always a good thing. So I was just kind of interested. Matt's kind of seen it kind of all over now, and I think there's one thing that's always been interesting to me is how JUCO has been a pretty much mainstay of creating good players, and I'm sure it's been affected somewhat by NIL and all that. But man, JUCO, they just do I feel like a lot of good for baseball and a lot of good for baseball players with how they give them a year or 2 years to kind of develop and get better. But, that's kind of how I look at some of it. But I don't know if it's a good idea or not. Just kind of interested on kind of how Matt has seen it.
It's a good discussion. For Lance, he's doing big things. He's also he played banana ball. And I just want to know what that experience was like, and if you enjoyed it. Like, you pitched in a game, and Izzy pitched, and it looked to me, in an interview I saw after,
like an old
Izzy was
game?
trying to, he was trying to distance himself from the whole banana ball thing. Izzy, because I'm sure he did it for his kids. What was your experience
Well,
like?
Izzy's old school though. You got to think
Yeah.
about that. Like he's in his 50s, man. He's gray. No, so I will say this. We were talking about it. It's a fun atmosphere. It's cool. There's a lot going on, a lot of things going on. And we were talking about it, and family and I were talking about it after my wife was always like, hey, they should play music whole game and stuff like that. And then at the end, she was like, hey, there was too much. So I think that there's some good in what they're doing. Obviously, the kids love it, like the younger generation. So I think that's good. Like, it's like, hey, we got to make baseball fun for them, and then slowly build it into hey, we're not here to fully like dance and put on a show. We're here to play and win ball games too. So I think all in all, it's a good concept, especially for the youth. It's like, hey, I remember the Harlem Globetrotters, right? It's so much fun to watch them do things and this and that. And then you look at, behind the back passes and all that start to get integrated in the NBA and this and that. So there's a place for everything. It's just like, hey, one's for one, and then like, hey, the major league's got to be maybe a little different style game, obviously. But I think there's some room for major league stadiums to grow to make the fan experience a little bit more pleasurable, like the Bananas do, also. So all in all, it was fun. I got my 4 pitches in and got out of there, and I was walking, so we're good to go.
I'm just curious because some of those guys on the Bananas are like Instagram stars and kind of like celebrities in their own right. What was it like dealing with those guys?
They were good. They were all good dudes, man. It was funny to, kind of get in there. I was in the clubhouse with them, which we all know that's the only thing you miss when you're done playing, besides the paychecks, is to be able to sit in the clubhouse and give it some back and forth. Some of the kids, had really good college careers and were in the minor leagues. Some of them got into banana ball because of COVID and all the roster cuts and all that, and then they were making more money there than they were making in the minor leagues. So I mean, you love what they're doing. They're putting on a show. They're enjoying it. It's, Instagram, TikTok, whatever famous that they're doing. Hey, if it's there, go get it. If that's your ability to get it, and they're doing it. So they were a lot of fun. They put on a show. They got chains. They got cut off shirts. They're doing their whole thing. So it was fun. That's for sure. And I'm happy for those guys to be able to do what they're doing, travel and play baseball, because they all love baseball and they're all baseball players. This is just kind of their way of staying in the game and doing it. So it's cool.
Jim, hold on, Jim. I'm stepping in again. I saw this. I saw the fly ball, saw the tip drill, trick play. When that ball goes up in the air off his glove and he drops it, are you like, if he drops it, are you immediately like, are you going full Lance Lynn on him? Because now you got to throw more pitches to get an out. Or did you even think about that?
I would have John Lackeyed it. Would have had the arms up in the air. We would have went there. When he hit it, I was typical old me. I was like, can of shit. We were good to go. I was like, don't let me get to a punch out, because it's gonna be my last one ever, and my goodness, with the whole stadium hear something. But yeah,
God, I wish that would have happened.
When he tipped it, I was like, what in the hell are we doing? Oh, and I was like, I forgot where I was at. But it's like, all right, we're good. Let's get out of here.
Oh, geez.
Matt, what do you like about banana ball? And is there anything you think that baseball could incorporate?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a fun environment. My kids love it. Reed, my 12-year-old, I mean, he loves it, and like he wants me to play in it. Like he's all about it. So I love it. Like Lance said, from an entertainment standpoint, what they're able to do, they're filling stadiums all over the place. They have people waiting on some sort of raffle to get tickets, and you don't even get to pick where you go. They tell you where you get to go watch. I mean, what they've been able to do is genius. I mean, it's an entertainment. They go there, the shirts, it's certainly much different than Major League Baseball, obviously, but as far from an entertainment value, I love it. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, if it gets people interested in baseball, then I'm all for it. I like it. I'm for it. I thought Lance, your chest hair was on point.
Yes.
I saw Wayno looked like his shoulder hurt so bad he had to drop down to the side a little.
Hey, I heard second warm up pitch. He felt something pop, and he was like, "Uh-oh." He's like, and then he was flipping his old 50-mile-an-hour bender in there. You can't square that up. It's too slow.
He told me, he said he was like working his way up, training for it, hurt his arm. He said he thought he felt better and then he heard it warm it up, and he's like, I was like, you don't, I mean, literally just go out there and lob it. You don't have to, but anyway, it's, I like it. I think it's cool how they integrate, people from the city and, whatever, wherever they're at, it's cool. So, I'm a fan. It's baseball. It's certainly, more Harlem Globetrotters than real baseball, but I like the Harlem Globetrotters, like Lance said. So, I'm for it.
Anything that's fun that promotes the game of baseball is good. Kyle, what are your thoughts? And is there anything that MLB could take away from the Bananas and maybe try to make it more of an entertaining experience?
I love that when a fan catches a ball, it's an out. I'm a fan of outs. More outs are great.
We
I
can't have
think-
that. We can't have that.
I think. I also think
Everybody
those
bring
cool
your
that
glove.
you can bring your gloves.
If I foul out to a fan, I'm not gonna be. I mean, that's not. I'm not.
What do
we're
you
not doing
mean?
that.
You're in
No.
the stadium. It's in play.
Second and third in a big spot, you hit a foul ball, and some woman makes a great catch on your ball. That's
just the fourth inning of every game. Fans can catch an out. That's it. Just one inning.
Oh, it's one inning. I thought it was all the time. Man, all right. They need to
it
expand
should.
that.
The MLB, yeah, one inning. We should do
slowly
MLB just
increment.
one.
Okay.
Slowly bring it in.
Yeah. I like that a hitter can steal first base, like on a really bad wild pitch. Like, I'll give hitters that. I think there's certain things that, we're trying to create exciting moments, right? How far
Billy
can you get
Hamilton
on a
still be in
walk?
the game.
I think there's certain things that could be really fun. But my kids love watching the highlights on YouTube. My son will try to dial it up on YouTube Live whenever he knows they're playing. So it's interesting, it's exciting, and they really enjoy it.
Matt, would you play if they asked you?
Currently, no. I saw Sean Casey run to first and blow out every bit of hamstring he has left. I would certainly go. I'm not sure. I'm in a place to run real fast right now. I'm looking
Hey,
at
you hit it over the fence. You don't have to run. And
Yeah.
we've seen your swing. Your swing's still there. You hit it over the fence. You ain't got to run. Fly balls are great for the hammies, I hear.
I would be in for that. I would probably just walk if I hit something in play. I would not run to first like Sean Casey. Like, I'm like, Case, what are you doing? Like, he walked and he was like trying to go to second because it was a wild pitch. And then he tells me he blew his hamstring out. Next thing I know, he's on MLB Network wearing some sort of giant brace that wraps around his waist. I don't know if you guys saw that, but yeah, I don't know. I think you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You haven't run hard in a while.
Yeah,
Kyle, you're the closest. Yeah, Kyle, you're closest to being active in baseball. Would you enjoy doing Bananas for a bit?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I think going out there and throwing 5 pitches, 10 pitches, whatever it is. I don't know how I would look in all yellow. Probably not nearly as good as Lance did, but I think that'd be fun.
All right, last thing, because I know you guys have things to do. I want to go around the dais. So the banana ball phenomenon is amazing. I mean, this couple bought a minor league team and put these things in. It blew up, and now they're touring the country and selling out huge stadiums. So I'll start with you on this, Kyle. What could baseball do to make it more fun? Like, if there was a change you could make to make baseball more fan friendly, maybe appeal to the younger people, what change would you make?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I think
I went to you first because you're the smartest. So I went to you first.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
When you need us to get on here and then you take shots like that, it's a poor business move on your part.
Just because
you're doing this show by yourself next week.
Just because Kyle attended the most college classes out of any one of us three does not make him the smartest. Okay, maybe the most book educated. That might be the thing.
Oh, I think Elizabeth could tell you I'm really not that book educated. So I don't know. I think baseball to me, and I think most people that go to games think baseball is a lot of fun. I think it's trying to create, every day an atmosphere that, whether it's winning, whether it's the players that are playing, whatever you have to do to really bring to light, like, what is the goal here and what is the objective. Every player will tell you that when the fans show up and it's 3/4 or more full, the game is better. And I think fans would tell you that when they show up and it's a full stadium, the moments that are special are so much fun. I think one thing that makes it really cool is, the tickets, even though they're hard to get, I feel like they sell all their tickets. And from what I've heard, I feel like it's fairly economical to go. The more people that are there, you are a part of an experience that's better. And I think TVs have changed that. TV dollars have changed. The importance of that. But packed stadiums are the best part. Other than winning the game and winning the World Series, playing in front of packed stadiums, there's nothing like it.
Lance, how would you get the stadiums packed? What would you change or add or subtract? How would you do it?
So, I mean, the simple fact of it is you got to have more parity in the game. There's teams that are tanking every year and not putting dollars on their major league roster to have a winning team. So I think you're looking at a gist of it. There's ways for every team to put a winning product on the field in a sense if you actually try. And then you're adding a certain type of element of entertainment, whether it's music, this or that. You have to really understand the culture that it is now. It's sitting there and playing the piano, was it the organist or whatever? Those things are kind of gone in the sense of it. Well, heck, they were gone when we first came in, Matt. Let's be honest. But
Not
like,
Wrigley,
but they're still
Wrigley Field
there.
still, Wrigley Field.
Yeah, so it's like there's a lot of things that could change in between innings and just the full fan experience during the game that you could really spruce it up to where, hey, we got some stuff to do in between innings and stuff like that, and make it more appealing for the younger generation that needs something kind of going on at all times.
What would you do, Matt?
Yeah, I think, and to Lance's point, I think more interaction in dead periods of the game in between innings, using the Jumbotron to let the fans get to know the players' personality more. I always used to remember in Pittsburgh, they had a lot of fun things on the Jumbotron where guys, they had the catcher, the Italian catcher, forgetting his name, but he had his own little segment on the Jumbotron where he was interviewing players that I thought was funny. And so I think that to keep people's attention and keep it fun in the dead periods of the game is what I think that kind of baseball. And now we've sped it up in between innings, and I know we've done a lot to make the games, with the pitch clock. I think they've done a nice job of making it more fan friendly and watch friendly. But yeah, if you take some of the ideas from Banana Ball, I mean, you obviously you don't want guys, hitting the ball or throwing it between their legs and some of those things. But I do think that having a more, sort of loud experience for kids and fans, I think would go a long way to making it a little bit more of fan friendly in 2025. And so yeah, the game is the game, but if you can take those dead periods and keep people off their phones and checked out, and in this day and age, I mean, what do we do when there's nothing that's stimulating our attention? We go straight to the phone. So I even like the race in Atlanta, like the Mr. Freeze race where they gotta race the guy. Like more stuff like that, I think is makes it at least for me as a fan, like when I go to games, like when there's stuff going on the field that's fan friendly, or like I said on the Jumbotron where you get to know the players kind of personalities and their humor better. I think more fans come to watch when they feel like they know the players. And how do you get the players more well known? I think you can show their personalities. I remember even like in Colorado, we did these commercials that were funny, and like you got to show your person. And in St. Louis, even in my first few years, we did a lot of funny commercials. And I think that stuff, when fans get to see you, your personality a little bit, they kind of grow attached to you, and then they want to come watch you or watch you on TV. I think that's what makes fans more interested in the game.
It's all about the players.
Matt, I got one question for Matt.
Yeah.
About that Banana Ball. If you could make it fun, if you could do one walk-up video where you were lip singing and do your video, what would it be before you're at bat?
Ooh, a lip sync. I'm like, this is like so out of my comfort zone.
I don't know. You had Luke Bryan down back in the day. I figured.
Yeah, that's true.
There.
I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, that's probably like my best one. Is like I'd have to go to his concert again just to kind of refresh my imitation. But I can do an imitation or two. So I was so like mentally locked in. I would never be able to do that. I couldn't do that. But yeah, I mean, that's probably where I would go.
Yeah, their
I got
full
to
music
say though,
video is special.
I mean, the point is you want fans to not be on their phones and be locked into the game. And you guys came up with great ideas. That's why when people say, "Hey, who's the smartest guy on the panel?" I say tied for first. See, I'm
Oh, that's right.
backtracking.
Yeah,
I
He
You need
backtracked.
us
There
for
we go.
next
Wow.
There
week.
you go.
Yeah,
Wow. Yep.
see what I
yeah,
did.
Wow.
Matt
yeah.
Holliday is on vacation in Big Sky Country. Lance Lynn is vacationing in Florida. And Kyle Gibson is on his way to pick up his new pooch. Gentlemen, I appreciate you making time for us. And for those watching, thanks for watching, serving it up. We'll see you next time, and hopefully that show will not be awful.